Fuck the claps. All right. I don't know how it. It's literally all it is. Syncing audio ain't that hard. Okay. Fuck the claps. End of.
After you, what were you going to say?
Well, I was gonna say, do you want to play a game?
Hell yeah.
So I'm gonna play a game with you, and we're gonna play a game rather, where I throw something at you, and it's gonna be this is purely a game, but it's gonna be an opinion that I have. Not necessarily, I definitely have this, but I've come up with it, and I'm gonna convince you that this opinion is fact and is good and is right. And you are either going to learn from me, you're going to agree with me, or you're going to disagree with me.
So
you can take your pick.
You're going to so if I know about it, great. If I don't, it's all on you. You can just indoctrinate me however you like. I am your loyal subject to be told what the world is.
That's exactly it. I have full control of your life for the next 30 minutes and tell you how this thing is. And I could be completely bullshitting you, but you don't know that because you don't know anything about it.
I'm already uncomfortable.
Right? But then we flip the tables. Then you get to give me something, and I have to either listen and learn, disagree, or agree.
I have a feeling
we've got 30 minutes each.
I have a feeling that you're gonna be agreeing with me on mine.
I'm gonna be agreeing with you. Well, I know for a fact you're going to be disagreeing with me on mine.
Oh gosh, what's this gonna be?
So, shall I kick it off?
Why not?
Nice and easy. Star Wars is the most overrated franchise ever made.
Oh my gosh! Oh.
It just is. I'm sorry to say, it's a bunch of like people in cloaks with some flashy lights that don't do much. And yeah.
No.
Sorry, mate.
No. Look. Okay, granted, people in dressing gowns, true. But I will stand up and say they are the best dressing gowns that I've ever seen. I mean, apart from the one that has a Cookie Monster on the back of it, that is a good dressing gown. But they are the cool dressing gowns. They are, I mean, it's like a halfway between a faith is Jedi. It's like faith and a cult.
See, that's why it's bad, really. You're taking something that is fictional and making it into a faith that so many people it's almost as bad as an actual like religion where people come up to you and say, hey, if you don't believe this, you're bad, right? There's that much of a cult surrounding with Star Wars that if you don't like Star Wars, you're shunned. You're out of there. You're gone, right? And that is an unhealthy mentality.
Oh, so wait, you're talking about the culture of the Star Wars rather
I'm just talking about everything. So it's overrated.
Because
right? What film franchise makes 3 films and the next 3 films are worse than the first 3? And it was like years difference. How do you advance in technology but degrade in content?
We've got to split up. We have to split up those films from Star Wars
they're
themselves.
all part of the franchise. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, they're awful.
I mean,
right?
the same as the next man. I will prefer to watch, especially from the 2000s Star Wars. I'd rather go and watch a Star Trek movie than the George Lucas Star Wars. Because
you're a traitor then, aren't you?
Because I'm not a traitor. You
are a traitor.
I actually have a lightsaber.
You have a lightsaber?
I actually own a lightsaber.
Why do you own a lightsaber?
Do you want another reason?
Yeah, I do, and then I'll make my further point.
Good. Truth be told, when I was
Come on, you can do it.
When I was younger, they were being sold off by, do you remember the shop Game?
Yeah.
And I thought if I bought one, it would rise in value over years, and then they just made the new better ones, and it's broken now.
Oh no!
So
see, that's another issue I have. Right, is that these lightsabers are meant to be real cool, but then you go to a shop, and all it is like a bunch of silicons of plastic, not silicons. Yeah. Is it a silicon? No, it's not a silicon. It's a bloody cylinder. Bloody silicon. It's a cylinder of plastic that gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and they all collapse into one another. That ain't cool. That's laziness.
Oh,
right?
you
And now-
haven't seen my
and then you've got-
lightsaber, have you?
And then you've got the Then you've got the lightsabers that are just one big line of plastic that light up, but they don't shrink into one another. So you just basically, at the end of the day, you're just selling a crappy product.
Well, yeah, but
And
that's
then-
like, oh god.
And then in the films, they're just beams of light. That's all they are.
If
and-
you look, go on.
And they're not even that powerful.
How could you say such a thing?
I mean, they're just not. They're just not that powerful. At the end of the day, a bullet to the face does more of a job.
You can literally cut someone in two by, they're like a cheese wire. They just straight off. You know, you can,
You can cut someone in two with a saw blade.
as Qui-Gon Jinn shows us, you can get through a blast door very easily by just holding your lightsaber through, like, we're talking like feet of space metal. I'm not just on about like aluminium. No, space metal. Proper futuristic, from the future, space materials here. And it just...
space metal when the stormtrooper outfits are made of plastic.
Yeah, there is that. But at the same time,
So,
they are
we're so future advanced, but like all the planets that they visit are arid planets and don't have any like technological advancement there at all.
Now, to be fair, this is unfair territory because you probably won't know this, but you do have Coruscant, and Coruscant is very futuristic.
In what way?
It's like every single building is huge, and I'm talking like thousands and thousands of feet tall. You have flying vehicles everywhere, flying highways in the sky. You have all of the technology you could ever ask for. But you do make a very valid point that so many of the planets in the Star Wars universe are just basically a single biome with like a couple of small villages.
So, I will further my point in asking you this: why do you think it's so good?
All right. So, when you are a little child, you know, it's a small child, you have dreams and you have aspirations. And I don't know about you, but when I was a child, I was like, I would love to have superpowers. That'd be really cool. I'd love to own like a BB gun. I wanted to do that as a kid as well.
Nope.
Although my parents wouldn't let me. And another thing I really wanted to do was have cool technology. And when I watched Star Wars, I would see these awesome looking spaceships that look really nice. You'd see flying cars. You'd see the fact they have the Force and the fact they've got cool technology in the form that you can make a blade out of light that has a color. And it's really powerful. I think it's powerful anyway. And it's really good at fighting with. And it's kind of a mixture of everything. So you kind of latch onto that and you're like, oh, this would be so good if this was real life. To have a lightsaber, to have a flying car. It's what's better than that as a kid? And then as you grow up, you just don't lose that feeling of it would be cool to have a stick of light that is so powerful coming from my hilt, the hilt that is in my hand, that we can duel with. And even now, I'm wanting to go out and buy some combat-ready lightsabers.
Oh my god! See, I think this pays a tribute to the difference in upbringing, I suppose, because I grew up as a child not watching Star Wars but watching anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in comparison to the things in Star Wars and the things in like what they can do and the power that they possess and stuff like that, is literally like peanuts in comparison to the power that things have in anime. While you're dreaming about, oh, I really wish I like could pull someone towards me with the Force and like have a fucking glow stick on my waist. I'm dreaming about literally being able to physically move at the speed of light, because that's how powerful they are, because they've trained for however long, you know, and literally destroy half a planet with a beam of light, you know. They create beams of light from their hands, not a goddamn weapon hilt, from their hands that can obliterate a planet.
These people need to be stopped.
Not slice someone in half like some cheese, you know. They do that with their own hands. So that is why, personally, I'm looking because I did try and watch the Star Wars films. Well, maybe I was just a bit too old to get into it, but it was just a case of they're really not that good.
Yeah. So, there has to be a point conceded when it comes to the films, because Star Wars. I mean, every time I watch the Star Wars films, and to some degree the newer ones as well, there is a level of cheese to the Star Wars films. There is a level of, I don't want to say Americanism, but there is definitely a something about it, which I think for me, a shininess, which is just I find it less authentic than I want it to be. I kind of want it to be gritty and a bit darker and show, you've got the dark side of the Force, which is meant to be this, basically what is pure evil, right? But I think sometimes it kind of comes across as a bit of a candy evil, a bit of a half-assed evil, or it's just a little bit soft. It's not quite as evil. And then, I think even when you go and watch, again, to show Star Trek or especially anime, you have villains and opponents that really encompass everything from the darkest of darks all the way up to the lightest of lights in a very, I think in a lot of cases, a very real way. Obviously there'll be some cheese there as well, but there's anime is so much bigger than Star Wars in terms of the breadth of material that's out there. So
well, yeah, obviously.
So there's definitely a point there where the films do lack, for me at least, some kind of grittiness that I just wish that they had.
Because I guess one of the main issues I have, and I will justifying saying this before anyone starts throwing their panties out the window and starts throwing a strop. I think they're a good franchise. They're just the most overrated franchise. There are franchises out there that are better, by all means, right? And when you've got a franchise that has made 6 films initially, and then goes on to make another 3, was it 3 or 4?
9.
3. So you've got 9 episodes now, and then they segue off and make another 3 add-on episodes, and now they're also segueing off into TV shows. I'm a bit like, leave it. Let it. Just leave it at the 6 episodes you never needed anymore.
Yeah.
All right? You should have left it at the 3 episodes and you would have never needed any more. It would have been fine.
They're trying to, I think, at least the way I see it is,
trying to milk a cow dry. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, a bit like with Marvel and Star Trek as well is, it can be does this as well, where you have the films and they are what they are. People enjoy them, and then along comes a series, and obviously Star Trek has the huge history of the series, and Star Wars has all of the comics. But yeah, trying to push too much into it and trying to find every little story in there. For anyone who loves Star Wars, I think it works. But I agree with you that I think sometimes all of the media surrounding it can take it a little bit too far, and I kind of prefer the idea of Star Wars in the real world rather than the idea of watching the content, but I still do like a sheep.
What do you mean by the real world? Because it doesn't exist, and I hate to break this to you, Joel, but Star Wars ain't real.
No,
it's not real.
Ah,
it's not. The beams of light, they don't exist. All right, they don't exist.
Is this where you're educating me?
Yeah, unfortunately. Almost like saying Santa doesn't exist, Star Wars doesn't exist.
Do you know, they did try and make a lightsaber, but I think when I've watched numerous videos on this, when they calculated the energy required in a lightsaber, they found out that actually if you managed to contain that amount of energy in a blade, roughly that size, it would set your hand and the surrounding vicinity on fire instantly with how powerful it was.
Well, isn't it just a beam of neurons, like light neurons or some shit like that?
It's meant to be, I think it's meant to be just energy. So there are things called kyber crystals, which are in the hilt,
right.
And the idea is that this kyber crystal is a source of energy, I think, and is basically when you turn on a lightsaber effectively, it's just a controlled release of this huge amount of energy that you're able to direct and you're able
Just
to use.
withstand.
That can withstand, enough energy to repel a blast or to cut through stuff or, so on and so forth.
Plus, I will say, your big bad villain is someone in a black cape and a black mask that isn't scary.
Ah, he isn't the top villain. He's just
the Emperor. Do it.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Execute Order 66.
Do it.
Yeah.
Who's the big bad villain then? Tell me. Kylo Ren?
It's the guy. This is where I
Rilo
show
Ken?
how long ago I watched it. It's the guy right at the top, and he's the one that's in the previous films. I forget his name.
Are you on about the guy that sat, the huge guy that sat in the chair?
Yeah.
His name like Smog or some shit.
It's like S something. It's something like I just cannot remember it for the life of me right now.
Even worse. He's an old frail man. Just kill him. Not hard.
I mean, I think this is again for me where if they made it grittier and they pushed that more, villains like that would seem much more imposing. But when they are sort of like an old dude in a tube or like an old man sat on a seat that apparently is really good with lightning, it can
Well, this is the issue then, isn't it? It is. Maybe this is why I see it as overrated, is because it's been taken over by Disney, where it could have been taken over by someone else and made into an R-rated proper Star Wars instead of some fancy dancy.
I mean,
shit, you know what I mean?
Let's not forget as well that this is how dark the actual story is, but how little they focus on it. In the Revenge of the Sith. Oh god, I hope it's Revenge of the Sith now. They
It's not Revenge of the Sith. I swear to God, you got it wrong.
I'll get let go from both camps. I'll just be like in the middle, just swimming around with nowhere to
Well,
be.
I mean, you've already been a traitor. You've gone to Star Trek already. So
my excuse is as an actor, we have to watch them.
of course.
Yeah, it's all just market research, so to speak.
Wait, Joel, you're an actor.
Don't know
what
what
have
you're
you
talking about.
But what have you been in?
Nothing.
Nothing. Ah, right. Never mind then. Fucking lose. Sorry, you were saying like they in the
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, in the Revenge of the Sith, Anakin goes and he actually goes to where they train all of the children Jedi, and he murders the kids. He goes in with his lightsaber and literally cuts them to shreds with his lightsaber, and like that's dark. It's about as dark as it's gonna get, but yet they don't really, they don't really kind of capitalize on that moment. They sort of just see it from a distance, and then it's gone.
Save the Jedi, not destroy them. Don't try it.
Hello there.
Hello there. But my point, I think, is valid. It is overrated. They've now got Star Wars like world in like Florida. You know, they've got fans all around the world. It's like Harry Potter's similar, right? Where the fan base is such a cult following that nothing else compares, and these fans will sit there, and I will never, ever, ever understand this for the life of my existence. The fans will sit there and rewatch these films 10, 15, 20 times over. How you can watch a film more than 3 times and not move on to something new in your life is beknownst to me.
It is mental. I completely agree.
How many times have you seen Star Wars?
I have seen the 1900s films back in the 70s. I've seen those twice. well, 3 times each, technically, but this is over the course of about 15 years. I saw them once with my dad when I was younger. I saw them again as a teen because I wanted to go back and sort of rewatch them. And then I've watched them.
Was this when they were coming back out?
Yeah, so I went to the cinema to see the newer films when they sort of came out in the early 2000s.
But they were re-showing the old ones.
No, so I just, because we were getting back into the story, I went back and watched all the older ones again. And then last year, I actually went back and watched them as well because me and my girlfriend were going through the series. So those original ones and also the 2000s ones I've probably seen, I'd say 3 times each. But with the new ones, I've seen them once each, if not maybe 1 or 2 of them twice. But that's all with the newer ones.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, but you have fans that will watch them 10, 15 times over.
Crazy
and
people.
These are the same fans that will tell you that this is the best thing that's ever been created on this planet, which is just simply wrong. I hate to say it. I hate to break it to you. It is simply wrong.
So I've got a counter question for you.
Go ahead.
So is this? I'm going to challenge you now. Is this the fact that is it overrated or is it just too mainstream for you to like it?
No, it's overrated.
Yeah.
I don't care. Well, if it was too mainstream, then I wouldn't like Marvel. But I love Marvel.
Okay, that's fair.
I just think it's overrated. As my honest point is, it's a bunch of people in cloth robes that look like they've been dragged through the sand, carrying some glow sticks. Followed by some fucking gremlin.
Who's the gremlin?
Who's dyslexic?
It's
that is my if you could describe a movie in the worst way possible, it's a bunch of badly dressed Halloween mummies with glow sticks followed by a gremlin.
Yeah, okay. Now, the glow sticks, all right, whatever. But they can throw the glow sticks and bring them back to them using the Force. Surely that's got to have some merit in it. That's kind of cool.
So can Thor. But his is a hammer.
It is a hammer, yeah, but his is... So, okay, fine. Thor's got the DIY special. All right, no worries. But...
That hammer also is unliftable by any other living creature besides Odin himself.
And there's a few others as well.
And Captain America, yeah, but I'm talking about fucking actual Thor.
Oh yeah, the actual mythological
the
Thor.
Actual Norse mythology Thor.
Yeah.
You know.
Where in history Anthony Hopkins wasn't actually Odin, although I wish he was.
I think he was, actually. He says
was he?
it somewhere. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, fair.
Anthony Hopkins is Odin, period. But that's how I would honestly, if someone was like, hey, what do you think of Star Wars? It's badly dressed mummies who have gone to a Halloween costume or a Halloween party with glow sticks, and one of them's carrying a gremlin. That's it. They're also in the hunt, on a hunt for weird people that wear gimp suits.
Which ones are those?
Darth Vader and Kylo Ren.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's sort of a fetish thing.
It is definitely a fetish thing.
You know, it's just
Like,
really...
It's not scary.
Yeah,
They're just gimp suits.
With just a lot of burnt face underneath.
It's a horrible way to talk about Kylo Ren. Bloody hell.
Oh no, not Kylo, but Darthy Vadey boy.
Darthy Vade. And it's like the thing is as well, it's the I am your father being, oh my god, it's the best movie plot twist ever made. No, it's not. It's really not.
Yeah.
He's just his dad.
No. I mean,
You know?
it makes that moment equally made people go, oh, and also, oh, because of, you know, when they casually kiss each other in the earlier films.
Wait, Luke kisses Darth Vader?
No,
No way. Plot twist.
Yeah, that's what they're fighting about.
I knew you'd seen something other than
Revenge
I
of the
had.
Sith. That's what they're fighting about. Is the fact that he was jealous. Obi-Wan was jealous.
Have you been on some mysterious websites, Joel? Huh?
No.
Are you sure?
That's R2D2.
Darth Vader takes off his mask for the first time. Ooh.
You
Yeah,
do get to see
yeah.
him without the mask on in the 2000s films.
Who do
Cool.
you think's the best actor in Star Wars?
Very, very easily, I think it's Ewan McGregor.
Really? Or are you being sarcastic?
No, well, okay. So which
Hello.
films are we talking about?
All of them.
I think I'm gonna just go to the 2000s films because that's probably I know the most cast from.
Uh-huh.
I think I really like from the kind of core cast that you see for the majority of that movie. I really like Ewan McGregor. I think as the main one. But why? What about you?
I'm just curious. I just wanted to know what the standard was, because I've seen episode 7 and 8, and I've seen episode 3 and 4. I think.
Who knows? I couldn't tell you the
I
numbers.
have no idea. One of them has a gremlin. The rest have lights, like fucking glow sticks and weird stuff. So, but regardless of all of that, I think you can agree with me that it is overrated.
So I'm gonna partially concede here for this. I'm gonna say yes, I do agree that there is definitely a lot more hype than maybe there is credit for, especially for the 2000s films. But lightsabers are still cool as shit.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree. the idea of lightsabers are cool in theory, of like what you said, that the amount of energy just contained in that small beam are cool, but the actual lightsabers themselves in the films are just glow sticks.
But they're glow sticks with they're glow sticks with pizzazz.
That's exactly what a glow stick is.
I don't know. I think a regular glow stick is a bit too ordinary. They need some more.
Oh right,
more
okay.
pizzazz.
No, you're right. All right, well, fair enough. We'll make some lightsaber glow sticks. How about that?
Yes.
Yes.
Get in.
Best day ever.
Arts and crafts. Here we
But
go.
either way, I think I won. You've agreed that it is overrated, and that was all my job was meant to do. It is overrated. I will preface this as well. Again, if anyone is crying, I know my dad might be. I do like Star Wars. I think it's a good franchise, but I do think it is overrated. That is actually an opinion. That is my personal opinion.
You can have a half win. Give you a half
And
win.
now Joel also, I'm ignoring you. Joel also thinks it is overrated. So if you wanna shout at anyone, shout at the traitor.
Can tell him to go back to his Star Trek films.
Yeah, go back to Star Trek films with his little glow stick that doesn't work anymore.
Well, in light of you half win, I
Full win.
have a position for you.
Oh no.
And I don't know whether you're going to agree or disagree. I thought you might agree at first.
You've changed the goalposts now.
I thought you might agree at first, but it depends how you feel, I guess, about what I'm going to say.
It depends what mood you're in.
So, I'm going to say the English accent is the best villain accent. Done.
Oh, okay. Yes and no.
Oh.
I'm going to agree with you to a certain extent, because there is just an exude amount of quote unquote intelligence that goes along with a British accent. But being British, it just sounds normal. But there is definitely something quite menacing about a villainous British man. My counterpoint is you've also got people like the Joker, who, if he was British, he would nowhere near be as menacing.
Okay, but think about it this. I mean, let's take, all of the cinema history. We've seen British villains, obviously, a lot. And we've also seen a lot of British heroes as well.
Yes.
But when it comes to the British accent, there is a level of distrust that you can have as an audience and as a character you can build. I mean, think of Mark Strong, for example. I mean, he's done so many good roles. And
of course, yeah.
When that's considered, I think that the British accent is one of the best at building a villain that has they have a lot of confidence, that they have a lot of darkness, a lot of work going on behind the scenes that you can't tell what they're thinking. That I think sometimes other accents that are more emotive, I would say, definitely give rise to a bit more about what the character could be thinking.
I do agree. Bear in mind, Mark Strong is Scottish. I'm pretty sure, not English.
Yeah, he is, but he's played so many English villains.
He has played so many English villains. That is true. But there is, I do agree with you. But at the same time, if you listen to anime dubs, there are a lot of English villains in that as well. If you listen to any dubs, cartoon-wise, a lot of the villains are English. Mm-hmm. But there are a hell of a lot of American psychopath characters that are incredibly menacing and incredibly. There's something about the American accent that is very playful when it is in a case of psychopathic. And some of the things that I've listened to in the past and even recently, it's that it's okay, you can do this. This is fine, but I'm gonna slit your throat. And there's that calming, really like unsettling, but settling comfort voice where it's like, hey, this guy's really nice. You can kind of do that. That's all right by me. And while he's saying that, he's also got a knife to your throat. And that's kind of become a very much a trend, especially in recent things, that it is this person who is, he sounds really comforting, but he's gonna fucking shoot me. And I think a lot of it kind of does stem from, because then you've got the complete different person in the Joker with Mark Hamill and even Heath Ledger and Troy Baker. All these very kind of almost stark differences where Heath Ledger is a very calm and very sadistic approach to talking to someone. He's talking to you whilst he knows that he's going to get the upper hand. And then you've got Mark Hamill, who is like, that voice is deafeningly terrifying. It's meant to seep into your ears and almost ring in your ears because it's that horrible, slimy, snake-like voice. So I have to agree, because there are some English villains and there's so many English villains that as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh god, he's gonna ruin everything, sort of thing, or he's gonna kill everyone. And there's such a dark, sinister, a sinister tone to an English accent that can be pushed forward very, very, very much as a villain. But in recent years, it has lent a lot to an American voice, I feel like.
Do I hear you saying that I can take a win after 5 minutes and 8 seconds?
No.
Does that?
Okay.
I thought. Did you say that?
No, because I haven't agreed. I've agreed and disagreed.
Okay.
Listen, right. My argument is there is just amount of American villains as there are British villains that do a good job. So you can't say that the English accent is the best accent for a villainous character.
So if we're going to go on to, so I have to chase after your disagreement now.
Yeah.
And don't get all diplomatic on me, if the English accent isn't the best accent, which one could be better?
Which one could be better?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? Like, as in for a villain?
So yeah, if the English accent isn't the best villain accent, where is an example that you think another accent has topped that or has made it?
Thanos.
Okay.
Thanos is like, there's something about Josh Brolin. I hope I'm not butchering his name. I think it's Josh Brolin, who was Thanos. His voice was just so. It carried the utmost amount of gravity with him, and carrying as much as he did, every single word landed, and this is very much a tribute to how incredible of an actor Josh Brolin is, but his voice definitely lent into that, and having an American accent like he did, it did benefit that role, because I feel like if Thanos was British, it would be awful. Watching it as Josh Brolin now, so when you say which accent would be better, I personally think depending on the villain, depends on the accent.
Okay.
So if you got a character that's very, very strong, like Thanos, and carries himself like almost like a justice warrior, as Thanos does, he doesn't think he's in the wrong. He thinks he's doing the right thing, and he's got such an arrogance and self exuberance, I guess, about him. That works very well for an American accent. But then when you've got a sophisticated, sinister, dark, and complex villain, that hands down has to go to a British accent.
Now,
or you could even argue German.
Yeah,
a German English.
Yeah, so we all know obviously the German scientist from Marvel is a great one. I forget his name.
Yeah.
But him, he's
agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, absolute brilliant German, Nazi scientist that just fits the bill. But what about when it comes to, I know you haven't seen a lot of the Bond films, but they can also...
Yeah, I knew you was going to go that way.
Well,
James Bond. Explain to me why the villains in James Bond, in your opinion, are so good.
Well, I think some of them are good, and I think some of them really aren't. I think some of
the people that are good, did they have British accents?
No. So, Spectre, the James Bond film, the villain in that played by, his name is... I know it.
No, you don't.
It'll come back to me. In fact, I'll find out.
No, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
I'm not funny, honestly.
The villain inspector. Whatever his name is, blah, 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 who cares? Bond film.
That's it. Yeah, Stavro Blofeld, played by Christopher Waltz.
If it's played by Christopher Waltz, then that makes sense.
Yes.
Because he is just a phenomenal actor. Even in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
That's the same person I'm thinking of, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's just phenomenal. Doesn't matter what he's in. That he is just a class above the rest when it comes to villain.
Makes an incredible villain. But it's that kind of, Russian, Eastern European accent as well. That I thought in your mind would have been another contender for the British accent, because I think that's a great accent when it comes to sort of being emotive, but you can play around with the emotion to a point where it seems false and pushed and sinister.
Well, this is why I brought up the German accent, because the first person I thought of was Inglourious Bastards with Christoph Waltz, because that is still to this day one of the best villain characters I've ever seen on screen. But there's something as I said, it is very much dependent on the villain. If you're talking about a very playful psychopath, you can do one of two. You can do American, very general American, or you can do German. Now, whilst British might fit into that category, I feel like it doesn't become more psychopathic. It's more British accents have not even unfortunate, they slip into being charming, and charming then slips into being sinister if it's evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very hard way. It's a very hard kind of like path to walk down with a British accent, doing it convincingly to become psychopathic, unless you're very very local, I guess. If you've got a local accent, if you've got, say, like a Birmingham accent or a Yorkshire accent or something like that, and you're trying to be a psychopath, then that's a bit easier. But if you go in on a general English, like RP English or like something like that,
Southern
and you want to try and be a psychopath, it's quite difficult, I think. Whereas if you do like a general American or a general German, they can be a bit more psychopathic and a bit more playful because they're not stereotypically charming. Whereas British people are. They're stereotypically charming. It's a charming accent. Or it's meant to be anyway, unless you're from fucking Birmingham.
Wouldn't you love to see, like, the Joker with a Birmingham accent?
I would want nothing less. To be completely honest with you, I would want nothing less. The Joker... There's some characters, for me, that you just don't touch. And the Joker is one of them. The Joker is American. End of conversation. End of discussion.
Is it the
Joker.
Batman? All right.
All right, mate. I'm looking for the Batman. Yeah, no. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got these scars. Yeah, my father was a fucking drinker, mate. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But I will say, then you've also got Tommy Shelby.
Yeah.
Who, I guess, some people would find it charming, but it is very just like it that and Tom Hardy's accent in when he does his villains, that is psychopathic. But again, that's very local.
Yeah.
And then you've got Tom Hardy as himself in both characters as legends, as the
Krays.
Ronnie Trends, the Krays, thank you. Where in a way that is just very, very, I guess, basic London accent, but incredibly accurate and terrifying to how scary the Kray twins actually were.
There's a quality I find to Tom Hardy's Kray twins where they are able to shrug anything off. You know, like some lines, I mean, look at in Downton Abbey or something like that, the lines that are said are kind of held in position and they carry weight and meaning. But Tom Hardy's the Kray twins managed to just shrug off every line and could put someone down or even kill someone or beat them up and just have it be nothing, have it just be another day.
Have it be another day.
And that made it so scary.
Yeah, exactly. And that is done with an extreme amount of brilliance. But if you gave that an American accent, it wouldn't work. Now, to circle back round, which accent is better for villains? Honestly, if I had to just choose, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm ready to choose it. There is that. Plus, if it's coming from someone that watches anime, the Japanese villain is fucking terrifying. The voice actors in Japanese anime, and even to a certain extent some Korean, they're incredible. I have to fully take my hat off to them. There is some incredible and extreme talent in the Japanese voice acting scene. And some of the villains are terrifying.
It's a very
and there's a huge range of them, because there's some that are extremely deep voiced, sinister and creepy people, but then there's also the higher end voice and the sophisticated kind of villains, and then there's that whole mix of them in between.
I find sort of Japanese very I guess quite an emotive language in the respect that
extremely.
It's up and down, and it's maybe not melodical, but it's got a lot of variation in its tone and variation in its attack. My dad studied Mandarin when he was at university, and just being exposed to some of that language and hearing some of the Mandarin, it was just incredible because it was just a whole new world. It was a whole new palette of sounds for people that have grown up hearing the English and a also northern Yorkshire accent.
Yeah, and I think there's an extreme amount of talent for someone that can, or at least from an English ears, listen to another accent and have that person be able to convey emotion, intent, and meaning through a different accent. Even though, yes, there are words at the bottom of the screen, I could probably close my eyes and listen and be like, this guy's a bad guy. From their performance and from the way they use their voice. So there is that as well.
Would you ever
a hard question.
learn any Japanese if a speaking role for an anime villain came up?
I would already. Well, I already have tried, and it is It is an incredibly hard language to learn. But 100%, yeah. If someone said, "Yo, do you want to learn Japanese for this character role?" I'd be like, "Yep, I'll do my best."
I'd love to see you as a Japanese anime villain. It would be amazing.
I'd love to be a Japanese anime villain. To be honest, it would be a dream come true.
I think we know what we need to do.
Make me a Japanese anime villain.
Get your books out. It's time to study.
No, honestly, I have genuinely tried, and there's so many different, because there's basically almost 3 languages in one language, and it's hard. It's a very hard language to learn, but that's why we have dubs, so that the Japanese voice actors can be as talented and it's as beautiful as they are, and the English voice actors can do the dubs.
Yeah.
So, and fingers crossed, at one point I can either just be a villain, and maybe we'll decide then. Maybe I'll message you in 3 years' time, being like, "Yeah, I've decided American's the best accent for villains."
And I'll come back and be like, "No, it's
no, it's still British.
Still British. You can't beat British villain. You can't beat a good Sherlock Holmes villain or
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. There's the Sherlock Holmes villains as well. Plus, it's almost like it is very much a category of like, if they're smart, if they're cunning, and if they're slimy, it's British.
Yeah.
And if they're charming, it's British. Whereas if they're like psychopathic, confident, comforting, and light, it's American.
Yeah.
There is definitely categories to that.
And if it's like world dominance maniacs, it's like Russian, German, Eastern European.
Yeah. Or in our case in D&D, it's Klaus. Just Klaus. But I will make my decision now. Ooh. To be honest, I think I've made my decision, and I'm gonna have to agree with you. Is that if I had to choose one villainous accent to keep in this world for the rest of my life, for every villain to have, it would have to be British.
To be fair, I gave myself a bit of an easy job there because I kind of thought you would agree anyway.
Yeah. The only thing that is stopping me is the amount of American villains that are extremely good in what they do, whether it be cartoon or otherwise. Like Thanos, like the Joker, like just the utter plethora, like Pain and fucking Naruto and all these different animes and stuff like that. They are incredible. They are incredible villains. And one of them being my favorite, obviously the Joker. But then you've just got the incredible talent in British villains. even now coming up, you've got the new Batman film with Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
Mm.
That's I think he's doing a Brooklyn accent. I could be wrong. He's doing a Brooklyn accent. But Colin Farrell's English, right?
I want to say, but I don't know.
Pretty sure it's no. I think it's American. I might have just shot myself in the foot. Actually, I can't remember now. Actually, either way, so you've got like American talent in those fields because he's doing a Brooklyn accent anyway, or an American accent anyway. And it sounds incredible in the trailers, and then you've just got Mark Strong. Even I was going to say Colin Farrell. Then it is Colin Farrell, but he's not playing the Penguin.
I like that.
You know who I'm on about?
I think so. I like that the British accent also can play. You know, you can have the villain, but you can also have the savior role. You can have the knight in shining armor role. I know that if you've ever watched The Kingsman,
yeah,
obviously Colin Firth.
Colin Firth, that's who I'm thinking of. Colin Firth. Thank you, not Colin Farrell. Fuck's sake.
Colin Firth, yeah, obviously
yeah,
great.
I think it's Colin Farrell who's playing the Penguin in Batman, and then you got Colin Firth who's like the charming Britishman. He's not in Batman, but the charming Britishman, and could definitely play a villain if he wanted to on the British scene.
Yeah. Well, in
that kind of
Kingsman,
accent.
He sort of sometimes you're not quite sure where he stands.
Yeah,
and it's brilliant. I love the way that he portrays his roles and through his accent as well. It's like I said, so charming, but it's so I don't know. It's just such a wonderful confidence to watch with that. But yeah. I definitely think it's got.
And then you have especially, obviously this is the same as throughout the entire world, but you have the rural areas and the local areas of the British accents. So you have the Birmingham accents in Tommy Shelby, and the London accents in Tom Hardy, and even some of the Welsh accents in Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
So you've got that entire vocal range, and obviously Mark Strong if he does Scottish and stuff like that. You've even got Scouse. If you go to Scouse and you listen to God, what's his name? Out of Snatch, smaller guy.
Do you know what?
He was in Time.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, and either way, you've got the Scouse accent that can be like very just intimidating and front on. So there is such a range of British accents in such a small island that does make it very, very good, in my opinion. And there is an essence of the moment you hear, whilst American accents are good, there is that essence of the moment you hear that sinister British accent. It's scary. You know.
I'm very scared.
You better be scared, boy. This is a horror podcast now.
Oh, great. I'll fall asleep to it.
Fucking psychopath. But no, I'm going to agree with you.
Okay.
British accents are the best for villains.
I'll take that as a...
So you take that a win.
Take that as a win. I'm going to give you a partial win.
You can give me a partial win at all you like. At the end of the day, I won. Star Wars is overrated.
You can't you can't make the game. You can't.
It's my game. It's my game.
You can't be the banker.
It's
in
my
Monopoly.
game. I decided it. You know what? You lost.
That's not fair.
No, you lost. That's it. End of the day. I made up the rules, and yeah, I win.
Great. Well, it's good to see we're
Your wins are my wins.
on a level. Oh, there we are. Everyone's a winner.
No, as in like I take them.
Oh,
Like you win, and then I take your win from you, and it's now mine.
I guess it's still the taking part that counts.
But no, either way, I would like to do this again as a little fun game. We'll be more prepared next time as well. I'm sure. We'll know that we're doing this, whether it be, in 5 episode time, whether we do it next episode, whatever.
We'll have to wait
find
and
out.
see.
We'll figure it out. We'll have to wait and see. But we've tried it. We'll come prepared. and next time I'll just win 2-0.
I'm going to make sure that it's a really easy point to agree with. Like, the best part of the body is the toenail.
Damn it, my weakness.
Ah, you see?
Toenails.
I got you. And
Well,
no,
you
that
may as well take that win now.
well,
Fine.
that won't be it, because I've already told you it'll be something better, and you'll have to wait and see.
I'll be looking forward to it. I'll be looking forward to disagreeing, agreeing, or learning.
Teach you all I know about toenails.
Believe me, baby, I already know.
I will see you next week.
See you next week.